Hi Fleetsters, I'm Andia Pibdani from the Fleet Science Center's education team, and welcome to our hot and cold episode of FLEETtv. Today we're going to be focusing on some topics related to thermodynamics, which is the science way of saying heat and other forms of energy. To get us warmed up, my friend Angel Cortez is going to do a chemistry experiment from his backyard in City Heights. Take it away, Angel.
Hi everybody. Once again, I'm Angel from the Fleet Science Center's education team, and today I'm going to show you a really fun chemical reaction. This experiment is called elephant toothpaste, and here's what you need. First, some sort of container. I have a plastic bottle. I have a pie tray just to catch some of the mess. You're gonna need yeast and measuring spoons, hydrogen peroxide. I'm using 3%, either 3 or 6%, and I'll be using a tablespoon. Food coloring, just to make it fun so that the foam comes out a really nice color. I chose green, it's my favorite color. Soap, I'm using, again, dish soap. Protective gear, I've got goggles, and warm water. You're only gonna need about 2 or 3 tablespoons. All right, so now I've got all those things. I'm gonna start putting it together. First, I have my bit of hot water. I'm gonna wanna mix 1 teaspoon of yeast into that water. And then I wanna stir this. I wanna stir it really well until all of the yeast is fully dissolved in the water. So first, I'm gonna put on goggles, just like that. And then, I don't have a lab coat, but I am at home and I have an apron. Okay, there it is. Got my protective gear on. My yeast is dissolved in my hot water. So now I want to prepare the solution in my main container. 1/2 of a cup of hydrogen peroxide. And there's that 1/2 cup. I'm gonna go ahead and pour that into my bottle. And then I need to give it some color. As I mentioned, green is my favorite color personally, so that's what I'm gonna use. I've got green food coloring. I'm just gonna squirt some in there. Next, I'm gonna wanna squirt some soap into this. Doesn't have to be a lot. Just a little squirt of that dish soap. Now before I pour the yeast into the solution, I want to remove everything off my table because, as I mentioned, this is a messy experiment. Here we go. When I pour this into the bottle, the yeast is going to create a chemical reaction with the hydrogen peroxide and the soap. You'll notice that this bottle that is currently mostly empty is going to fill up, and there's going to be a change in texture, maybe a change in color. Those two things are indicators that a chemical change has occurred. So let's see what happens. So it's a little slow, but you can get a look at that foam rising in this bottle here. It's gonna come out the spout, and it's a nice pastel green. It looks kind of foamy like toothpaste. That's where this experiment gets its name, elephant toothpaste. And there it is, everybody. Depending on the amount of materials you use, this could be a more dramatic result, a more dramatic reaction. It could shoot out. But I use safe materials. I use a little bit of them just to show you the reaction and the foam that comes out, a different product from the 2 reactants that I put into it. Thanks again, everybody.
Thanks, Angel. That was amazing. If you get a chance to try out this experiment for yourself, see what other indicators of a chemical reaction you can identify. So, next we're going to hear about how heat moves from one of our coolest educators from Tierra Santa, Pat Peluso.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Peluso. Everybody calls me Mrs. P when I teach down at the Fleet Science Center in Balboa Park. Maybe you've visited us. We have lots of exhibits for you to explore, and we have camps too. But I've been staying here at home in my kitchen a lot lately. Maybe you have too. And I noticed something. I was playing around with a glass of ice cubes when I dropped one on the table. But being a curious sort, I thought I'd drop one on my pan over here. And something strange happened. I thought you should take a look at it. At first I didn't notice anything. Oh wait, Do you see something happening? What's happening to my ice cube on the pot? Doesn't seem to have anything happening down here on the other one. What do you call it when something starts to go from a solid to a liquid? What was that phrase? Well, it's not happening here. There's nothing below this ice cube. What would happen if I held it in my hand? What's that word again? Why is it doing that? It didn't do it when it was on the table. What's it doing on the pot? Well, that's pretty strange. But I'm not done yet. Maybe you can think of other things to try. I have a wooden spoon here. What if you put an ice cube on the wooden spoon? What would happen? In fact, you probably can think of lots of things to try too. Things that you might have at home. Common things that you can find in your kitchen. Maybe you have one of these or the lid to one of these. What would happen with that? Maybe a cake pan would be interesting to try. But I heard you. I think you said something. You thought the pan was hot. Well, guess what? It's not. In fact, it's very cold. These things are all just at room temperature. That's how I controlled my experiment. So when you're working with yours, control yours too. I challenge you. How many things can you try?
Thanks, Pat. It was so nice of you to give people a chance to try at home. It's still bad, and I hate it. So, going with that. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been trying to sneak some jokes in here and there, but I'm really no expert. Hey, Reza, do you have any advice?
You know, India, the thing with science jokes, and especially chemistry jokes, is that you just have to keep telling them until you get the reaction you're looking for.
Thanks, I'll try to keep that in mind. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode and that you share the results of your experiment using any of our social media handles below. I am off to do one of my favorite experiments. How warm is the pool right now? Bye everyone, take care.